Two priests on the patio, pull up a chair and watch the show. If there's anything you want to know, just ask. Two priests on the patio, yeah.
Hi there. Welcome to our next installment of Two Priests on the Patio. This is Lucy Ward, and I am Jeff Ward, priest at St. Cuthbert's Anglican Church in Southeast Oakville.
I'm Sue Ann Ward, and I'm priest at Grace Anglican Church in Waterdown.
We're going to continue our patio series today with another one of Jesus' parables. This is one from Luke's Gospel. It's often called the Rich Man and Lazarus.
So this is from the 16th chapter of Luke's Gospel. There was a rich man who was dressed in purple and fine linen and who feasted sumptuously every day. And at his gate lay a poor man named Lazarus, covered in sores, who longed to satisfy his hunger with what fell from the rich man's table. Even the dogs would come and lick Lazarus' sores. The poor man died and was carried away by the angels to be with Abraham. The rich man also died and was buried. In Hades, where he was being tormented, he looked up and he saw Abraham far away with Lazarus by his side. He called out, "Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus to dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am in agony in these flames." But Abraham said, "Child, remember that during your lifetime you received your good things, and Lazarus in like manner evil things. But now he is comforted here, and you are in agony. Besides all this, between you and us a great chasm has been fixed, so that those who might want to pass from here to you cannot do so, and no one can cross from there to us." The man said, "Then, Father, I beg you to send him to my father's house, for I have 5 brothers, that he may warn them, so that they will not also come into this place of torment." Abraham replied, "They have Moses and the prophets. They should listen to them." He said, "No, Father Abraham, but if someone goes to them from the dead, they will repent." Abraham said to him, "If they do not listen to Moses and the prophets, neither will they be convinced, even if someone rises from the dead." The Gospel of Christ.
Thanks be to God. So this parable begins with our introduction to the two main characters of the story, the rich man and Lazarus. And the rich man is introduced to us as someone who is not just well off, he seems to be really, truly wealthy, maybe one of the wealthiest. He's wearing purple clothing, which is the most expensive. He's wearing fine linens, again, the most expensive. He's eating sumptuously. He's living in a gated home. So he's at the top of the heap. There's no doubt about that. And then we have Lazarus, who we're told is a beggar. He is outside of this man's gated community, and he's begging for whatever he can get. Not only is he not wearing purple clothing or fine linens, he's also not eating sumptuously. In fact, he's eating the table scraps, or hoping to eat the table scraps, from the rich man's house. The writer of this gospel, when they use the word poor, we have that in English, but the Greek word that gets used here doesn't just mean, not as well off. It means completely destitute. This man has nothing. We're told that the rich man is wearing all of these expensive clothes, and all we're told about Lazarus is that he's covered with sores. And this rich man, he probably has many dinner parties with lots and lots of people. Meanwhile, Lazarus is alone. He's by himself. His only friend, we're told, is a dog who comes to lick his sores. It's a truly sad picture that gets painted for us with this rich man and Lazarus.
So Jeff has told you about what it was like during their earthly life for this rich man and Lazarus. I'm going to move on to the part of the parable that talks about the afterlife. But I don't want you to take it too literally, because I think Jesus is just using something that was part of the common folklore of his day. Right? There would have been stories about the afterlife and about, people going to wonderful banquets in the afterlife and other people being tormented in hell. This is kind of like when we tell a story about, we go to the pearly gates and we meet up with St. Peter, who's got the keys to heaven and the book that's going to decide if we're let in.
That's not true.
So it's not to be taken too seriously. Okay, but Jesus is trying to make a point here. So Jesus tells about how Lazarus dies, but he gets taken up to be with Abraham, presumably in heaven. And he's there in comfort, reclining on Abraham's breast. And we have this image of this beautiful banquet, this perhaps like a wedding banquet. And, Lazarus is reclining on his left arm, and he's leaning against Abraham, the father of the faith. And things just couldn't be better. So although he suffered in his earthly life, he is rewarded and in great comfort in the afterlife. And then we have the rich man, who did very well for himself in his earthly life. But in the afterlife, we hear that he has gone to Hades, the place of the dead, and he's being tormented there. And so there's this great distinction between the situation of Lazarus and the rich man. And in fact, things are so bad that the rich man calls up to Abraham and says, tell Lazarus to go and just dip his finger in the water and put it on my tongue to cool me. And we have, I think, sort of a parallel between what Lazarus experienced in life, where he was lucky to just get the scraps, the crumbs from the rich man's table, and the rich man in Hades just asking for drops of water, not a glass of water, just these drops of water to cool his tongue. But Abraham says this, he says, child, remember that during your lifetime you received your good things, and Lazarus in like manner evil things. And now he's being comforted here, and you are in agony. And besides all this, there is a great chasm between us that cannot be crossed. And I think that the chasm is really the heart of this story. That with great wealth and great poverty, there becomes this great distance. And we see sometimes people who are living in great wealth, like this rich man, are almost afraid of poor people, feel like they have to protect themselves from people who are not well off. And so we have in this parable Lazarus living outside the gate. We have this image of a gated community or perhaps a border wall to protect someone, the rich from the riffraff. And there is this chasm that just can't be crossed. And it's a chasm that the rich man created. And it's very, very problematic.
The parable ends with this rich man pleading with God to make sure that this message that he has now received, that he now understands, will be communicated to his 5 brothers in the hope that at least they will know, so that they won't repeat the same mistakes that he has repeated, or they'll stop it. Because we're guessing that they're living the same way he's living, and he's realizing what this is going to mean for all of them. And he's told, but they have Moses and the prophets, and they should listen to them. In other words, they already have all the information, they just don't want to hear it.
So what does Moses and the prophets represent? Okay, I know this one. So Moses represents the Torah, and the prophets represent the books of the prophets. And Jeff knows this too, but it's late at night.
I do, that was a trick question.
So in other words, the rich man has the scriptures, and so do his 5 brothers. So they should know better, because they should be reading their scriptures that say you should take care of the poor. You should look after the vulnerable.
And we can find that, and we're going to talk about that in our next installment, about where we see that in the Hebrew Scriptures, what they should have already known. And Jesus is constantly telling them that they are supposed to heed those words that are centuries old by that point. This is also a parable, a story that illustrates Jesus' constant refrain of the last will be first and the first will be last. And he's warning people in advance that you've really got to do it in this life. You've got to love and care for each other. You've got to love the poor. And of course, this parable ends with one more piece of information that Jesus floats out there for the people who are there that he's trying to teach. And it says, if they do not listen to Moses and the prophets, neither will they be convinced, even if someone rises from the dead. He knows what's going to happen to him. He knows that he's going to die, he's going to rise again. And he's telling them that not only will you not be believing Moses and the prophets, you're not even going to believe me if I tell you. You're not going to believe me, even the Messiah, the one who came, lived, who taught you, who will die and who will rise again. You're still not going to get the message. So it's unfortunate that it ends on that note for those people. But this is a parable. So he's telling people who are still alive that this is the message you should be hearing so that you can adjust your life now. So that those of you maybe who are wealthy should be hearing those words that you've been hearing all your life and heeding them and loving and caring for those who are poor, those who don't have what you have. So our next episode, we're going to be talking about this passage, and we're going to talk about it in today's terms. And we're also going to talk about how it relates back to those Hebrew Scriptures, how they can inform us so that we can live the lives that Jesus wants us to live, that the kingdom can be here and now. For now, please be healthy, stay safe, take care of each other.
Love from us to you, and love from Lucy to you. God bless you.
God bless you. Amen.